Hi, this is CK at CK Education, and I want to talk about college rankings. College rankings are overrated. Okay, so there's not. I'm just gonna get straight to the point. Um, I don't know why people care about it. I mean, I do understand why people care about it. I think it's the same reason people care about um, name brands and things like that. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with name brands. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with even liking certain brands. And college is much the same thing. I mean, it's just like buying different brand of cars or different brand of clothing or, whatever. Certainly you can get something cheaper and it's a lesser known brand, or you can get something more expensive. Probably serves the same purpose. Um, doesn't necessarily, it's not necessarily better quality, but you buy something and it's more expensive, but the brand name is better known. And so, it's part of an ego thing. It's a pride thing. You know, it's something for parents to show off about to their friends. My kid went to this, or my kid has this, or, I understand that. I understand that psyche, but college costs a lot of money. Okay, you're buying that brand. I mean, just so I tell students all the time. I said this for 12 years. I said this for over 12 years, but I've said this literally hundreds of times, probably over, I don't know, probably 1,000 times I've said this. In the real world, and when I say real world, I mean the real world after college. Nobody cares what college you went to. Okay, I think there are very few cases in which people actually care about what college you went to. One of those situations might be, and even in this case, it's a little iffy, but I think one of those situations might be is if you are in, let's say, academia and you're doing research, you're a professor, and I think it may matter what advisor maybe you studied under, maybe what researcher you researched under, and and those kind of connections and those networks perhaps may be important. Or if you're going to be a researcher of some sort and you have a PhD. But even in those cases, I mean, I know people who have PhDs who are in research. And again, it didn't really matter what college they went to. It was more of what kind of research did they do, and did they do great research, and was it known, and was it published? And, in the end, in the real world, nobody really cares about what college you went to. I think for 99.9% of the people in society, they do not care. The only people who care are the colleges themselves, and parents of high school students, because they think that it matters, and maybe high school students themselves. But in the real world, nobody cares. That's not something that will determine your success or not. It's not something that follows you around. Now, this is not to say that in some countries it doesn't matter. It does matter in some countries, okay? So just as an example, I think in South Korea, I think it matters a lot what college you went to. I think that determines much of your career success. And I think that kind of alumni network and so forth plays a large role in your career, like your entire life, okay? But I'm not talking about Korea. Well, I'm talking about America. And in America, nobody really gives a crap what college you went to. It really more matters, and much more matters, and really all that matters is how good you are at what you do. Okay. So I just want to put that to rest. Now, here's the thing. So I've said for many, many, many years that if you could go to a local public school, like University of Michigan or University of Virginia or University of Maryland or University of Washington or, okay, whatever. So there's a local public school that you could go to, and if you commuted from home, maybe it costs you per year, maybe it costs you $10,000 or $15,000, as opposed to going to an out-of-state private school and they don't give you scholarships and you have to pay basically the full price, and that's going to cost you $45,000 or $50,000, and you have to go into debt to attend that school, and you have to get tens of thousands of dollars of student loans to get through that school. So at the end, when you're 22 years old, going to a local school, let's say you commuted from home, so you reduce your college costs by like 40%, and you graduate from that school, and you have, let's say, no student loans. As opposed to you went to an out-of-state school, cost you a lot of money, and you accrued a lot of debt. So when you're 22 years old, you have $80,000 in student loans or $100,000 in student loans. I think that's crazy. I think that's, I mean, it's, if you have to have gotten student loans, that means your parents were probably not millionaires, okay? And in that case, that means you're going to have to end up paying for that for the next 10 years after you graduate minimum, because student loans are easily deferred. I mean, they let you just, oh, I have a hardship, so I'm going to defer it. And most student loans are like, oh, okay, no problem. Just, what do you need? 6 months, a year? And so you can defer it. But the thing is, you can defer it, but then the interest is accruing. So it's not like, when you revisit in a year or so and you say, okay, I want to start paying it again. You're like, whoa, what happened to my balance? It went up. Of course it went up. Interest accrued on it. All I'm saying is I've seen so many disastrous cases where people have accrued a lot of debt, and it takes them, they're like 50 years old, literally 60 years old, paying off their student loans. That is crazy. For what? Was it worth it? To me, no, I don't think it would have been worth it. Okay, so I always advise parents and students that when you're sending your kids to college, especially undergrad, why would you pay so much money to send them to a school? Why would you go into enormous amounts of debt to get your kids through 4 years of college when you can go to a local school? Perhaps they even give you some scholarships, and you have them commute from home. It's even cheaper, and you can get through it with no loans at all, so that when they're 22 years old, the kid has no debt. That is the right place to start financially when you're 22 years old, not you're drowning in debt already. You haven't even gotten a job yet. I think it's crazy. And even if you're in that debt, even if you go to this more expensive school, is it worth it? Do you get a higher paying job? Do you get more career advancements? No. It really, again, long term, it depends on how you do in your job, how good you are at what you do. If you suck at what you do, it doesn't matter what school you went to. If you're excellent at what you do, again, it doesn't matter what school you went to. It only matters if you're good at what you do. That's going to determine whether you are successful. So that's what you want to focus on, not what school you want to go to. Don't go crazy about the college rankings and stuff. Okay, the U.S. News and World Report, the rankings come out every single year. I see them too. I read them and I understand them. Again, I'm not saying I don't understand the mentality of why people like that stuff. I'm just not one of those people. I really don't care. I've known many people. I know many people who have gone to some of the what we would call elite colleges, like Yale and like Harvard, like Brown University, like Johns Hopkins University, like Georgetown, like Columbia, like UPenn, like all these schools, top schools. Okay. I can tell you that they don't live this sort of dreamlike fantasy life that some people, for some reason, assume that they would live. They just live like normal people. They make normal people money, and in fact, a lot of them make less money than just people who went to state schools. It just doesn't matter. Okay, it's just the only difference is the diploma hanging in their basement says whatever. And the diploma hanging in someone else's basement says another school that is not, quote, ranked in the top 20 or whatever. So that's the only difference. It really doesn't matter at all. So would I go into a lot of debt to go to a school like that? I would not. Absolutely not. Would I send my kids to a school like that? I would absolutely not. Now, if that school gives you a full ride, hey, more power to you. If it doesn't cost you anything, yeah, why not? Okay. But if it costs you 3-4 times more to go to a school like that, why would you waste your money and years of repaying that money after you graduate? I just wouldn't do it. It's not worth it. There's nothing there. It's an empty shell. Okay, this college ranking thing. So don't focus on college ranking. Think about it very practically and think about what college would best make sense for me to go to, and preferably I could commute from home. Why do I keep saying commute from home? And I know you all want to say, oh, I don't want to live at home, or the parents are saying, no, I want my kids to go and get the college experience, whatever that means. But I say that because it can reduce your college costs by like 40%, almost by half if you commute from home. That is huge, okay? So if you could do it, I think that's the practical thing to do. And then graduate with absolutely no student loans. Now, if you still live in a dorm and you want to live in a dorm and you work your way through college and you can still graduate with no student loans, again, great. But the point is that whatever you can do to graduate college with no student loans, I think is the practical thing to do, and not spend a lot of money on a name that's not really going to get you anything, or it's not going to get you anything, okay, in your career. So that's my advice about that. And thanks for watching this video, as always. And there are a lot more videos on my channel about this kind of stuff, about college, about career success, about mindset for success, about parenting, about money and personal finance. And so I encourage you to check it out. And thanks, as always, for staying with me up to this point. And until my next video, I hope you stay well.